Hi there, folks. Welcome back to the Gamer's Grotto. Today we're going to be live streaming Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. This game is based on the books by Ken Follett. Actually, this game is word for word, according to multiple reviews I've read, word for word exactly like the books. It's so faithful to the books that it doesn't deviate from it at all, actually. This game is insanely long. So as you can see, book 1 says, chapters 1 to 7. Now, each chapter is roughly, I'd say, about 2 to 3 hours in length. So consider each chapter about the length of a Telltale Games chapter, basically, or game, actually, I guess. So we have, I believe, 24 chapters, 21. So it's a really long game. It's going to take me a long time to get through all of this in a live stream, but I'm willing to take that chance. I'll try to do at least 2 chapters or maybe 3, depending on the length. I don't want to go any more than that because I'll be exceeding like 6 hours or so, possibly. But this game is really good. The voice acting and the animation is phenomenal. I've had this game for quite a while. I bought it on disc, I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. And I kind of wanted to live stream it, but I just kind of pushed it off. And I think now is a good opportunity. So we're going to hop right into this right now. We're going to play some Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth.
This should do. How do you feel?
Oh, can't complain. After all, there's a cozy tree in my back.
But I promise, this will be the last fire. After tonight, it won't be trees anymore, but walls and a roof. In Shiring, I will find a job.
What if the bishop wants to hire you for life? To keep his palace in shape, but maybe strengthen the town's defenses? Plain things, Tom Builder. Just walls and roofs.
There. Took me a lifetime to find some dry ones in this wet. Why didn't we just use your staff? That old thing would have done nicely.
Because that thing is precious. It's not made to burn. And we might be able to sell it. Right, now let's see if this does the trick. Yeah, should be dry enough.
I told you.
Martha, you want to cut up some turnips? We'll be making soup.
If it helps.
Alfred, you go and look for water.
We could just eat snow.
No, it'll be proper water for my family. You sit, I'll take care of it.
You still haven't answered my question, Tom Builder. What if the bishop offered you a job like they did in Exeter? Something that is beneath your craft, but pays for a lifetime. Easy work.
Well, building something is never easy.
You know what I mean. After Exeter, you said I could create something that matters, something that stands for eternity, or I could die setting up houses and sheds. But what if houses and sheds would feed your family? Would you stay this time, or would you keep on looking?
I'd be glad to stay.
Would you now? Just promise me you'll think about it.
Maybe we can sell the baby.
Alfred!
I'm joking. Don't listen to me.
Houses and sheds. Walls and roofs. I'd be glad. I should be glad.
What's keeping you?
Alfred.
What? Aren't you supposed to get water? I am not keen on eating rotten leaves tonight.
Alfred!
Right, I've had it with you. In times like these, we need to support each other, so be nice.
Do as you're told.
Yes, Mother.
Just want to point out I totally hate Alfred in this game. He doesn't really grow up. At least not from what I remember. He just is constantly a douchebag. And all throughout the game, he's just like so sarcastic and unsupportive of anything. And then whenever you try to have him do stuff for you, it's like pulling teeth. He's just such an annoying character.
Here, water for your turnips.
Hooray! You can put it on the fire.
And did you think about what I asked you?
Dreaming of building a cathedral was foolish. When we get to Shiring, I'll take the job.
Why is a cathedral so special?
Well, you've seen a few. You should know.
Yes, but there are so many already. Why do you have to build another one? Is it because God needs more houses?
May I?
If you must.
Well. Actually, a cathedral isn't so different from any other house. It always starts simple, with some walls.
And on top of that, you put a roof.
Very good. A roof to keep off the rain, and walls to keep up the roof. Together that makes one big, long, but dark room. Like a cave. So of course you may want some light coming in.
Windows.
Right. So the people inside can see what they're doing.
I think you forgot something. People can't get in if there are only walls.
So, what do you suggest?
Doors, of course.
Right. And not only doors, but a big and impressive one to let in as many people as possible. By now, we've carved quite a few holes in our cathedral. Unfortunately, not every building can carry a roof like that, and have so many windows.
So what do we do?
Good and solid work. That's what we do. If we don't want our cave to collapse, we have to make everything perfect. Not only strong, but consistent and perfectly even. The walls, the roof, the windows, everything perfectly proportioned.
You shouldn't say big words like proportioned when talking to a child.
What does it mean?
It means beauty. Well, it means not only will it keep them dry, it will give them hope. Agnes?
Mama?
The baby is coming.
But it's not due. Have your waters broken yet?
Soon after we started walking this morning.
You should have told me.
I'm so tired. I don't believe I can bring it into the world.
Oh, look at all the blood.
Children? Alfred. Go and collect more wood. Let's have a bigger fire.
More wood?
I can do it. Let me.
Let Martha do it.
I'll be quick.
It'll take forever before she's back.
Get more water. Take snow if you must and make it warm.
Right.
Let me cover you. Remember when Martha was born and the Lady Isabella acted as midwife?
You were building a chapel, and you asked her to send her maid to fetch the midwife from the village.
Yeah, and she said, that drunken old witch will let her deliver a literal wolfhound pups. And she took us to our own chamber. And poor Lord Robert could not go to bed until Martha was born. Right, what can I do to help?
Stay with me.
The water's warm now.
Put it next to me.
Is the fire better now?
Can you feel the warmth?
Yes.
I'd say for a year as bad as this one, we've managed quite well.
You lost your work. And then Martha almost got killed by that pig thief. You call that well?
We're going through hell.
I know. But we're still here for each other, aren't we? Holding together as a family. Us builders aren't carved out of measly wood. Never were.
You expect a lump of granite to come falling from my legs?
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm proud of you.
I feel so weak.
You'll make it. You're a strong woman. That's why I love you so much.
two of a kind, eh?
She's losing too much blood.
I'm sorry that I kept quiet all day. I didn't want anyone to worry.
It's all right.
The day was hard enough on everyone without me complaining.
I know. But we will get through this.
It's not long now. Be ready.
What else can I do?
Give the children something to do. Oh, your hands are cold.
I could warm them for you.
No. Stay here. Please. It's coming! Help me, Tom! It's coming!
I can see it.
It looks horrible.
He's perfect. A perfect boy. You're still bleeding.
It's all right. It will stop soon. Tom.
Yes?
Thank you for being my midwife. Do you remember the night I came to you? In your lodge? When you were working on my father's church?
Of course. How could I ever forget?
I never regretted giving myself to you. Never. For one moment. Every time I think of that night, I feel so glad.
Me too.
I hope you build your cathedral.
I thought you were against it.
I was. But I was wrong. You deserve something beautiful. Build a beautiful cathedral. For me.
Papa, what's wrong with her face?
Agnes. Agnes, wake up.
The year of our Lord 1135 had come to an end. King Henry of England, son of William the Conqueror, had died. It was a time of poverty and death. In their despair, some had come to believe Christ and all his saints had gone to sleep, and that the pillars of the earth themselves had begun to crumble. Is there no one to welcome us?
Who goes there? You just crossed the bridge, right? That'll be a farthing for you and a penny for your horse.
Monks and villagers don't have to pay a toll.
Sorry, I'm not good at this. I told Brother Paul. It's not easy doing the Lord's work when you're hungry.
I will let the prior know you neglect your duties. Take care of my horse, I'm late.
I'll just leave it with me. I'll get it down to the priory later, once I've caught myself a fish down here by the river. Fresh fish is much better than the salted ones they feed us.
Prior James will hear about this.
Prior James? That's him the bells are tolling for. Don't you know? The devil has come to Kingsbridge.
The devil has come to Kingsbridge?
So just remembering, there is a little like globe between chapters that lights up. So there's this. I'm just remembering how long this game is now. This game is probably about as long as Shibuya Scramble, which was a game that Stu from Stu's Game Reviews was playing the other day. This game is about the same size and length. It's really freaking long. I remember once I beat it, I was amazed at how long it was, but at the same time, I felt fulfilled. I felt like the ending was perfect, and I was like, well, that's how you make a game. That's what I thought after I had beaten this. I remember thinking to myself, God damn, that is how you make a game. The creator of the books, Ken Follett, he's actually in this game. He has a lot to do with this game. From my understanding, he helped write the story for the game as well, and it, like I said, it didn't really deviate from his books. He is also in the game. He will be cameoing in an upcoming scene, actually, at that cathedral that I'm going to be going to as Father Philip. So he plays another monk, I believe, or something like that. But yeah, he does a lot of cameoing in this. Had a lot to do with the game, and I remember he wanted the game to not deviate from his books. He said, well, if you're going to make a game based on my novels, which are a ton of novels, then I want to be involved. And so he was. And so basically, if you play this game, it's the equivalent of reading one of his novels. It doesn't deviate, and it's very true to its original source material.
I wonder where Paul is. Whoever is righteous has regard for the life of his beast. Hello? I'm sure there was someone moving behind a window, but most houses are empty.
Another thing to note about the animation in this game is that it's all hand-drawn animation. So, it's very unique, and it's damn beautiful. Like, there are spots in this game where it's literally stunning. The environments in particular are very impressive, as is the animation on the characters. I really do appreciate all of the work that went into this. It's not really a game that, when I originally started playing it, I was like, wow, it's a good story, but there are spots that tend to drag, but I'm assuming that that's what it was like for the books as well. There's a lot of spots where it's just like build-up of characters, but build-up of characters which is kind of taking a bit of time. But then it goes into like craziness with like battles and killing and murder and all this stuff, and then it gets really exciting, and it honestly reminds me of Game of Thrones. It really does, with all of the action and all of the craziness that transpires, but that doesn't transpire right away. That takes its time, and eventually you get this action, you get this craziness that goes on in the game between rival factions, rival families, and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty damn good.
Why did they lock it? Maybe the side entrance is open.
When he opened the sixth seal, I looked, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth. The moon became like blood.
There's no one here either. Where are they?
Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the pestilence that walketh in darkness. The pestilence that rode in on the lightning that struck our cathedral 4 years ago. Did you not all feel its presence here ever since? James did, and I did as well. But the Lord says, because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. Our beloved Prior James has served the Lord all his life. He shall be delivered from the darkness, from this dark earth.
Prior James?
Philip.
Francis?
For many years, James has been our prior. After the upcoming election, I vow to lead Kingsbridge Priory with the same steady hand. Amen.
Philip, we told your brother you'd come to Kingsbridge New Year's Day.
I did not expect to see you here.
I was on my way back to Gloucester and wanted to see you.
A priest working in the world of politics. You must tell us about it, Francis.
Of course.
And his brother a prior of what now? 2 years?
It's been 4 years, Cuthbert.
I see. How are things in St. John in the Forest, Philip?
Our little cell is happy and healthy.
Happy and healthy. Thanks to your brother, Francis, St. John in the Forest is prospering. His novices are obedient, his monks humble and pious, while our own priory is in such a sorry state.
You know James did the best he could. It was not his fault. Also, they make a remarkable cheese in St. John's. Come by the kitchen later to see us, will you?
Brother Cuthbert seemed upset.
Well, we all are. The way James died was disturbing.
Disturbing? How did Prior James die?
7 days ago, Brother Remigius found James's room empty. We all looked for him for hours. Then we found his footprints by the bridge and a hole in the ice.
Oh no.
No.
In the small hours of Christmas Day, he must have walked out on the river. We didn't even find his body. The river took him, and the cold.
I will pray for James. See me when you have time, Philip. I will be in the cathedral.
And I should go and see how Brother Cuthbert is doing. It's good to see you, Philip. Maybe things will get better after the chapter elects the new prior.
Hopefully. I will come by the kitchen later, Milius.
At least it wasn't Remigius who punished us. Brother Marcus said he's taking a beating now once a week. Is that him?
It must be. The cloister is a place for quiet contemplation.
Yes. Normally we wouldn't speak up like this, but...
But what, brothers?
Are you Philip of Gwynedd?
Yes?
May we ask you something?
We know we shouldn't be asking you like this.
How about you ask him?
I already asked Brother Andrew.
That doesn't count. He wouldn't answer.
If you promise to lower your voices from now on.
Oh, of course.
We promise.
Brother Milius told us you know the scripture very well. Could you tell us about God's temple?
Brother Andrew wouldn't tell us.
Must be a place. A cathedral.
Each of us is God's temple, in the way that he created us.
And what if someone does something to God's temple?
The scripture says, if anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him.
Even if he destroys his own temple of God?
So for Prior James there's no salvation as well?
Prior James did not commit suicide.
But no one saw him that night. No one knows.
God knows. God knows what sent him running out onto the ice.
They say the devil was chasing him.
Didn't say his name.
I have seen brave men run, for many reasons. Never have I seen the devil. So we should not make room for him, neither here nor in our hearts. All right?
Yes.
Brother Philip.
Thank you, Brother Philip.
So, again, we're all God's temple.
What we have to ask ourselves is, can our Saint Adolphus still protect Kingsbridge in these dark times?
He couldn't protect Prior James. Ever since that lightning struck the cathedral, he wasn't the same.
When you take over my position as sacrist, you should implore the bishop to send us a new relic. By then I'll be sub-prior. The new prior and I will support you in this.
A new relic might also attract more pilgrims.
Philip of Gwynedd, I wanted to talk to you. How dare you disturb Brother Remigius' requiem?
I'm afraid the choir is waiting for me.
Stay, brother. There's no reason you shouldn't hear what Philip has to say for himself.
I beg your forgiveness. I was overwhelmed when I heard Prior James passed.
You should know better. I'm sure at St. John's you're a good prior, but here we adhere to the rules.
You mentioned a new prior.
The election will be held in a few days, when we all convene for the chapter meeting.
Just to point out here, so the cantor, the guy on the left, he's actually Ken Follett. That's who's voicing him. Ken Follett, I believe, voices multiple characters in this game, but that's the one that he's best known for in this game, is voicing the cantor, the guy on the left here. So, like I said, he was heavily involved in the game. I mean, why wouldn't he be? It's his novels after all. But it's still pretty cool that he was involved in such a way that he was not only involved in the game's writing and everything like that, but he was also involved in the game's voice acting, which is also pretty cool. So yeah, that's one of his characters that he plays.
Let us continue this conversation later.
Of course. There's a lot of planning for me to do for the upcoming election.
All of us. Because God created us in his image. That's why we can all pray to him.
This priory is so much bigger than our small cell in the forest.
We don't need to go to church for that.
No, we are the temple.
But why a church then? Why cathedrals? Why do we create temples if we are the temple?
There was something. He's right.
Now stop it. Concentrate.
There it was again.
You seem troubled, brother.
They won't sing. It's Adolphus. There was nothing, believe me.
I heard him crying in the crypt. I think I heard him too.
No, you are mistaken.
It sounded like a whip, like he was chastising himself. It's the end of days.
Brother Philip, please help me. Prove to them that there is nothing and no one down there.
About the crypt.
Please go into the crypt. Then tell them that there is nothing, not a single thing to be afraid of.
I think I heard it again. What was
No
that?
talking. Now we sing.
Are you sure you heard something?
I'm happy to see you, little brother.
It's good to see you too, Philip. Your hair is starting to get a bit grey.
Yours isn't. At least in this one case, I will be the one to boldly charge ahead of you.
You've always been bold. You just don't admit it to yourself.
Francis, what are you doing here?
King Henry is dead.
I know. Word reached St. John's shortly before I left.
First the king, and now Prior James.
God has a plan.
I know he does, but King Henry's death caused quite a commotion in the world of politics. Dark times are coming. There will be war.
Francis's notes about the late King Henry, Empress Maud, and King Stephen. Part 1. Dated 1st of January, 1136. For many years, our late King Henry has been without an heir. His only legitimate son, as well as several other relatives, had drowned while crossing the English Channel one night in 1120. Finally, his daughter Maud gave birth to a boy. It was Henry's last wish that his infant grandson would continue his reign as Henry II once the boy came of age. And until that day, his mother, the daughter of the king, would rule in his place. Despite being the rightful heir to the throne, Empress Maud is viewed unfavorably by most of her Norman overlords. The reason is Maud's marriage to Geoffrey of Anjou, the County of Anjou, and the Duchy of Normandy has been rivals for a long time. A rivalry that now is about to become a war, taking place right here in England, for Maud's cousin, Stephen of Blois, has now crossed the Channel from Normandy and takes the throne by force.
If only we could stop the suffering.
Maybe we can. I came not just to meet you. I was sent to look for a messenger of my lord, Earl Robert.
Here? In Kingsbridge?
Farmers said the messenger was heading for Kingsbridge 2 weeks ago. The knight was carrying a confidential document that might change the course of the conflict. People here trust you. Maybe the monks here know something?
We will find him.
One more thing. No one can know why we're looking for the knight.
Yes, I'm sure.
It was nothing. Calm down and concentrate.
Locked.
Rufus?
Silence!
I heard it.
This priory is so much bigger than our small cell in the forest.
Philip!
Brother Milius.
Come! Warm yourself by the oven.
Is that Philip? Tell him to warm himself by the oven.
Thank you, Brother Cuthbert. Hard at work, as usual, Milius?
I have to serve salt fish 6 times a week now.
We hear you have fresh fish every day at your cell in the forest.
Every other day, we even have poultry.
You have done wonderful work at St. John's, Philip. We, on the other hand, had a weak prior for 13 years. May the Lord rest his soul. What you worked hard for at St. John's is wasted here in the mother house.
After the election, the new prior ought to put things right.
Remigius? Put things right?
Maybe we underestimate Remigius.
He's about to burn all the books and documents in the prior's room, including the priory's ledgers.
Remigius says James asked for everything to be burnt after his death, except for his Bible.
What? Without the ledgers, the priory's finances will be beyond saving. Was no one else nominated?
Only Cuthbert.
I refused. I'm too old.
No one else dares to follow in Prior James's footsteps. Not since he began talking to the devil.
What?
One day he started talking to the devil, as if they were standing side by side. He was bargaining with the devil for his soul, whispering about his sins.
His sins? Did you see a knight in Kingsbridge?
You mean, aside from the nobles attending the Christmas service? No, I don't remember any knights visiting us.
We'll talk more later. Ah, wonderful.
I always put some extra stones on the stove to warm up water. Put one in your pocket, and you'll keep warm.
Oh? Ouch!
Careful, they're hot.
Brother Cuthbert.
Ah, we were waiting for you. I hope you brought some of that wonderful cheese you make at St. John's.
Of course I did.
Splendid. Thank you.
I will prepare it for our brothers on Sunday.
Brother Cuthbert, you seem worried. Prior James was a kind man, but the priory is in a terrible state, Philip.
Philip knows. He was just too kind to say anything.
Yes, I know. I wanted to use my New Year's visit to talk with Prior James about these matters. We should be rich. The priory has much land and collects from many parish churches. But we are in debt. Our novices steal from us, Philip.
The novices are stealing?
Yes. Someone took my keys. Remigius blames me for losing them. But someone used them to steal food from the cellar, more than once. Today I found something missing again.
Has there been a night to Kingsbridge recently?
Milius, wasn't there a poor soul found dead before Christmas?
I don't know if he was a knight.
He was put to rest in the cemetery.
The cemetery? That was the right thing to do. Let us continue another time, Brother Cuthbert.
Of course.
Nice and warm, and I didn't burn my hands, Milius.
I knew you could do it.
Brother Ronaldus, how are you?
Huh? What?
How are you? Are you well?
Oh, Brother Philip. Yes, I am well. It's just that the dead won't stay in the ground.
What?
The dead. It's probably those badgers always digging up the graves. Rotten badgers. We used to eat them. Now, they're eating us.
My father gave the priory a good deal of land to keep me fed. I won't eat salted fish all day.
Me neither.
Shall we go into the cellar again tonight?
Yes, Brother Marcus. You still have old Cuthbert's keys?
Indeed I do. I hid them right in the church. Stuffed them in the large crack in the wall.
I could do some crack stuffing myself.
I bet you could.
I asked not to be disturbed.
Brother Remigius, I'm sorry I interrupted your service.
You mean Prior James's service?
Quite so. I heard he fell through the ice. Horrible.
Yes. I was the one who found his rosary by the river. Now let me continue my work.
Brother Marcus stole Cuthbert's keys.
Brother Marcus. I will deal with him. You were right to report this to me. Theft is something we cannot take lightly.
About the keys that were stolen by Brother Marcus.
I will deal with him. You were right to report this to me.
Did a knight come to Kingsbridge within the last few weeks?
Of course. Even the bishop and the earl were here for the Christmas service. I held the sermon.
And the week before?
That week I was not here. Andrew Sacrist and I travelled to Shiring to hire cooks and buy food for our guests.
I see. Why would Prior James walk out onto the river at night?
He was chased.
Chased? By whom?
The accuser.
But why would the devil be chasing him?
Better to not get involved in all this, hmm? Don't you have your own priory cell to run?
You really believe the devil killed the prior?
Some of the brothers do, and I respect their beliefs. We may never know what happened, and that's that. Now let me get back to my work.
Isn't it almost arrogant to try and build a greater temple?
Don't say that.
The novice said he hid the keys in here.
I think I heard it again.
They're here. I have them.
Adolphus?
This Brother Marcus really did steal Cuthbert's keys.
Adolphus?
Silence!
Let's see what we can find. No reason to be afraid. Nothing. Careful, Brother Cuthbert will get in trouble if I lose them. These old cathedrals are bound to make strange sounds. There's nothing here. Even if it is Adolphus, we would have to welcome him. Thought so. Nothing here. Nothing here. The saint rests in peace. Hello? Oh! What is that?
is that? It's the size of a child. Hello? Oh! An owl. Just an owl. The choir will be relieved to know that. I should tell them.
There was something. He's right.
Now stop it. Concentrate.
There is no need to worry, brothers. Adolphus is resting in peace. It was just an owl.
I told you it was nothing.
God bless you, Brother Philip.
I knew I heard something.
Now, be silent, concentrate, and...
Brother Paul?
Philip. Ouch. Oh.
What's wrong with your foot, Brother Paul?
Oh, just a chilblain. It will ease when the spring comes.
You should have a fire.
It's all right. It's not that cold.
Don't take it lightly. Many will die this winter for lack of food or shelter.
Remigius thinks the Lord is testing us. Only the sinners perish.
No, the poor perish, and those that he has freezing out here.
Don't say anything to Remigius, will you? If he thinks I've been complaining, he'll be displeased.
Here, Paul.
Oh. Ouch! Oh. A hot stone! Ah! It's a mercy, Philip. Thank you.
Remigius should give you a fire, or not have you sit here at all.
I don't really mind. Winter is bound to end sometime. Philip, if you ever run into trouble with Remigius, be careful to answer him. Do not stay silent.
Silent?
Nothing makes him angrier than someone who doesn't answer. He becomes weak and defensive. It's not fitting for a sub-prior, let alone prior.
Have you heard about a knight in Kingsbridge?
A knight? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. He was just lying by the road, just a mile away from the priory. He must have fallen from his horse.
Where is he now?
He died. We buried him in the cemetery.
Did he have a name? Did he say anything?
Oh, he could not speak. But the look in his eyes told me he was afraid. I held his hand and prayed with him while he died.
Did the knight have anything with him?
There was a letter. I gave it to Prior James. Remigius will probably burn it with the rest of James's papers. James insisted that all his books and documents shall be burnt after his death, except for his Bible.
I heard about this. I think that would be unwise.
Sometimes I wonder if it was because of that letter. A few days later, Prior James fell through the ice. Right here, Philip. Maybe I brought a curse on Kingsbridge.
How could a letter bring harm?
The word of God brings salvation. But what if the devil took to writing? What then?
So just as a heads up, each chapter in this is in 7 acts. So, like I said, this is why this game is so long. So you got to count for there's 21 chapters, and each of those 21 chapters has 7 acts in it, and each act is about an hour long. So it's a really long game. But as I said, this beginning here is kind of boring and slow, but it does start to speed up after this act. Is when stuff starts to slowly start happening and stuff like that. So it's slow at building up, but it eventually gets there.
What is it? Can you not see that I'm working?
I would like to take a look at Prior James's documents.
And why is that, Brother Philip?
Well, our little cell has given much to the Mother House. I would like to ensure that all is accounted for.
So you do not trust us, Philip, is that it?
The state of this priory...
The state of this priory is the concern of the Prior of Kingsbridge.
I still would like to see the Prior's documents.
They will be burned tonight.
I heard about that.
It was Prior James's last wish. I'm following his request.
But the new Prior will be lost without the ledgers and contracts.
After the election, I'll be the new Prior.
For now, you are not. Only the chapter meeting can decide on these matters.
Of course. Brother Andrew will surely understand why you would go against James's last request.
About the chapter meeting.
Oh, talk to Brother Andrew. He will be just as pleased as me to have you around. Now leave.
Why not?
We wouldn't be here if it weren't for the cathedral.
Brother Andrew.
What is it now?
I am looking for a document that was in the possession of Prior James.
How does that relate to my tasks? Talk to Remigius.
We can't allow Prior James's books to be burned.
That, Philip, was Prior James's wish.
This priory is in debt. And without the ledgers and documents, that will never change. Besides, the wisdom in his books is priceless.
It is not up to you to make decisions in this priory, Brother Philip.
Do not domineer over those in your charge, but be an example to the flock.
1 Peter chapter 5. You are right. You shall argue your case in front of the brothers in a chapter meeting today.
Thank you, Brother Andrew.
When I'm done here, I will tell all the monks to come to the chapter house.
Would it help if I went and told some of them?
Feel free to do that. But I insist that the choir finishes practicing before we start. They're already behind schedule.
It feeds us.
We are people of God.
There will be a chapter meeting in a few minutes.
Oh yes, we will be there.
Thank you for letting us know. Yet, we need to eat too.
We come together here. The pilgrims donate. So do the nobles.
I see. A temple to...
It's getting cold. When will these novices learn to close the door?
Milius, may I have a word with you?
What can I do for you, Brother Philip?
Prior James had a document I would like to see.
It's probably amongst the things that Remigius is going to burn.
Oh, no.
He's in the prior's room. Maybe you can talk him out of it. You look like you have something important to do. I'll be here if you need me.
There will be a chapter meeting today.
You convinced Andrew? Miracles do happen. We will be there. You have our support.
There will be a chapter meeting today.
Excellent. I can't wait to see you and Remigius quarrel.
Brother Cuthbert?
Do not worry. We are on your side.
You keep everything nice and tidy around here, Milius?
It's not easy. This morning one of my ladles broke. That's never a good sign. Everything is falling apart.
There will be a chapter meeting soon.
Ah, thank you for letting me know, Philip. Remember my advice about Remigius.
Brother Arnaldus. There's a chapter meeting today.
Today, I'll be there. Wouldn't miss that.
A waste of time.
Oh.
Yes. We must take good care of us. And our cathedral.
Brother Andrew has arranged a meeting.
Yes, please go ahead. We will be there in a few minutes.
The sacrist agreed to a meeting today. That way I might be able to get the letter you were looking for.
Good thinking, Philip. I will attend, of course.
We must.
The choir has finished singing. The cantor should find time now. Are you ready for the chapter meeting, Brother Philip? If you have any other business to take care of in Kingsbridge, do it now. The meeting could take a long time.
I'm not ready yet.
Let me know when you are. We must begin before nightfall.
I am looking for a document that was in the possession...
How does that... The chapter meeting can now begin. The day will be over when we are finished. If there are other problems you wish to attend to, do it now before we meet.
The chapter meeting is more important. And this is why Prior James's wish must not be honoured. Kingsbridge Priory would be beyond saving without financial records.
I think we have all understood the reason for your concern, Brother Philip. But before we come to a decision, Let us hear other voices of concern.
I would like to know why you would doubt the wisdom in Prior James's decision.
Maybe you didn't know him as well as we did, Philip. I can say I knew him well. We all here knew him.
How wise was Prior James, really?
Philip, you are going too far. I will tell the bishop about this.
Brothers,
now let him speak.
Brothers, please.
Well,
let's hear what he has to say.
Oh, heavens.
Hear him out, brothers. I was stubborn as well, but he made me see it.
Well, that's not an easy thing to do.
Yes.
I owe James much. He was the one who asked me to take care of St. John in the Forest.
One of the most prosperous cells in all of Shiring, if not England.
It was a wise decision, then.
But his last wish was not. Well, was it? What are you waiting for? Answer me.
Is walking on thin ice wise?
Who does he think he is?
May the Lord forgive him. He knows not what he is saying.
No. Philip was very hesitant to talk about the state of this priory with me. Usually, he is as careful in his words as he is in his actions.
Yes. Philip asked us a question. Was it wise to walk out onto the ice?
God was testing Prior James.
I say the devil chased him. Do you doubt that? Do you doubt that, Philip? Surely you must have an answer. I know because Prior James confided in me.
If the Lord tested James, then he is testing all of us. I trust the Lord, so did James, and so should all of you. He was misguided when he walked onto the ice that night, as he was misguided in his last wish. Whatever or whoever misguided him.
Maybe it wasn't the devil. We've never seen him.
The novices would be better advised not to speak up.
Philip is a good man. He was the only one to say I should have a fire.
But did he do anything besides talk?
Yes, he brought me a hot stone.
That's our Philip.
Very well, Philip. But why don't you tell us the real reason you have come before us? You not only came to save these books.
I am here only to help this priory.
This priory, of course. I say it is not a coincidence that he should make his voice heard now, shortly after James's passing and before the elections.
What are you saying, Brother Remigius?
This is not about James. It is about him. He wants to be prior.
No. I came here to talk to James.
I think that is a wonderful idea. I nominate Philip of Gwynedd to be the new prior of Kingsbridge.
I can't disagree with that.
Well, yes, obviously.
Excellent choice.
What about Remigius?
That's surprising.
Great idea. Philip.
Brother Philip, do you accept the nomination?
Thank you for your kind offer, but we would not want to impose on you, Brother Remigius.
Oh, but I insist. I will help you.
No, you really must not. We will see you later. Thank you. We don't have much time. Evening Mass will begin soon.
Should I not have accepted the nomination?
You've never been good at saying no. And Milius is right. Kingsbridge needs you.
What about St. John's?
I will ride there tomorrow. I will let them know you will be staying in Kingsbridge for a few days. Thanks to you, these documents and books will not be burned. Now, we have to find that letter.
You truly think the letter can help prevent a war?
If the message says what I think it says, then yes, I do.
Francis's notes about the late King Henry, Empress Maud, and King Stephen, Part 2, dated 1st of January, 1136. Our new King Stephen is supported by most of our Norman overlords, and even by the Church. His younger brother Henry is Bishop of Winchester and one of the most important priests in all of England. He made Stephen swear an oath to reserve power to the Church, which had little influence on political affairs under King Henry. A good day for the Church. It doesn't look like this is scrolling down anymore, so I think that's the end of the letter. That's strange. It's not scrolling. What if I go to this one? Hang on.
Now, let us look for the letter.
I'm going to go back to my documents here and see if I can get that to scroll. Oh, that was weird. A good day for the Church and for us. The trouble is that my Lord Earl Robert of Gloucester is one of the king's bastards. He wants to see his half-sister Maud on the throne, believing she would heavily rely on his guidance and advice during his reign. In the name of Empress Maud, he and his allies have formed a rebellion against King Stephen. Not long now, and there will be war.
Francis, I think I found it.
In the Bible?
Revelations, the Apocalypse of St. John. And they called to the mountains and rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand?" The Lamb? What was James afraid of? Was it this letter?
No, the letter is still sealed. Break the seal.
Letter dated December 18th, 1135. Robert of Gloucester, name the day and we will be ready to shed blood in the name of Empress Maud. I and my bondsmen will ride against Stephen of Blois. We do not start the war, but we shall unleash it. Stephen himself started it the day he betrayed King Henry's daughter and took her throne. He and those who swore loyalty to him, Bartholomew, Earl of Shiring.
Oh, this is it. You found it.
The Earl of Shiring is about to start a war?
Yes. He's made contact with my own master, Earl Robert of Gloucester.
Who is this King Stephen that has taken the throne?
A nephew of King Henry. Do you ever think of the day our parents died?
Francis, you know I don't like to talk of that.
I know. It's just that I think of them all the time. And I've always blamed King Henry. The Church suffered under his rule as much as we did in Wales. Philip, you have to show this letter to the Bishop of Kingsbridge.
The Bishop of Kingsbridge? Why?
Our late King Henry was opposed to Rome's influence in England. King Stephen, on the other hand, swore to preserve the rights and privileges of the church, and we can help him if you tell the bishop to protect Stephen.
You want the bishop to help the new king, King Stephen?
I want a king who supports the church. I want these dark times to end. I want to stop the Earl of Shiring from starting a war. He could set the whole of England on fire. My lord the Earl of Gloucester can never know what I was doing here. You must not tell the truth about how or where you got this letter. Don't tell anyone I was involved.
Do you really think the bishop will help?
Tell him you found the letter by coincidence.
And if he does not believe me, what then?
He will believe you. The question is, will he really try to stop the Earl of Shiring? I will write to St. John's and tell your monks you will stay in Kingsbridge until the election.
What if the Earl of Shiring finds out what I'm doing? What if the bishop tells him?
Philip, calm down. He is your bishop.
I'm a simple monk. Who am I to talk to a bishop?
So that's the end of that act. So as you can see in the bottom here, the accept logo, so it has 7 little rings here. So you see when I click this, that ring is finished. So now I'm in Act 2 of Chapter 1. So there's 7 acts per each chapter, which makes this game insanely long.
I'd rather not. Yes.
My name is Jack. For a long time, it was the only name I had known. I was born and raised in a cave by my mother. We were used to getting by, but that year the winter had been harsh. I was proud to have killed my first deer that day. And while waiting for Mother to help me cure it, I decided to practice my reading.
The Lord and King of all France, Charles the Great, has spent 7 long years fighting in Spain. He has conquered the highlands and the plain.
Lord and King of all France, Charles the Great, has spent 7 long years fighting in Spain. He has conquered the highlands and the plain. Before him, not a single fort remains.
Afternoon was approaching fast, and Mother still hadn't returned. So, if I wanted to cure the meat, I had to do it on my own. Else it would all go to waste.
Good. It's warmer. Now I need some wet wood to make it smoke properly. There he is. Charles the Great, the protector of my town. You're coming with me. Huh? What's that? Mother will be proud. Now, what's that noise?
Ellen's bow. Ellen and Jack keep a variety of short and long-range weapons in their home. The two lead their lives as outlaws, outside of society and the protection of the law. A bow can serve as an invaluable tool both for hunting and self-protection. Most outlaws were once accused of a crime, but failed to appear for judgment. According to the law, their contracts, claims, and ownerships then fell void. As outlaws have no rights, anyone can harm them or capture them and turn them in. Thus, many outlaws turn to a life of hiding and thievery.
must have heard its cries.
Will he take care of it?
In his way, he will. Listen, cub. I am sorry. I know there's so much you want to know about the world out there, but for now, we must stay hidden. And never trust a man of God. Least of all his compassion. You'll either end up in a monastery or at the gallows. Get down.
Easy now, it's just someone little. No need to be afraid.
I'm going to follow him. You go home and wait for me, little cub.
Mother?
Don't move. We killed a pig thief in Salisbury. We can kill you too. Bloody outlaw. Where's the baby? Did you eat it?
I don't have the baby.
Right. What's this?
Give it back.
What do you want with this? You can't read.
Give it back.
Leave the boy be, Alfred.
He took the baby. I saw him take Mother's cloak. He's the only one around. Who else would have taken it?
Wolves.
A monk took it.
A monk?
Yes, on a horse.
Is that true? Where did he go?
He should take us there.
Leave him alone. He's just a boy.
What is your name, boy?
Jack.
Do you live in these woods, Jack? Then you know this place better than us. Please. I don't know why I left the child. I thought I couldn't take care of him alone, but I cannot leave him to die either. I have to know if he's all right. Will you help us? You're a good lad. I owe you.
If you want your silly book back, you better keep your word.
For now, I had no choice. The girl was sobbing, while her father remained tense but quiet. The boy kept on pushing me, which confused me greatly. I had never been hated before. If I had any plans of getting away, it would be like hunting deer. I had to stay sharp until the others forgot to be. The monk had crossed a small stream, or he had followed its course north, which would have led him towards the next village. Either way, the tracks ended at a riverbed as evening was fast approaching. The big man looked at me. "Which way, boy?" he asked. But I could only guess. The stream led us to a more convenient crossing. Here, one could easily pass without getting drenched in icy water. Suddenly, the boy called out. He had spotted something on the other bank. A set of fresh hoofprints. He laughed triumphantly as our eyes locked. So, we crossed the river, the boy cheerfully mocking my skills as a tracker.
What is it?
He got us lost.
Did you?
Papa, I'm tired.
That's all right. Come on, up on my shoulders you go.
No, I'm too heavy, and you're too tired anyway. I will remain steadfast.
You should all get some rest. Alfred, stay here with them while I take a look ahead.
No, don't go.
I won't be far, dear. Besides, you can do me a favour while I'm gone. Have an eye on the lads and make sure they get some sleep, all right?
All right.
See? You are steadfast. I won't be long.
You stay where I can see you while my sister rests. And no tricks.
Ha.
Huh? What is it? Did you hear something?
The fog is lifting.
I don't like you. Tell me, why do you care about your book so much? Wait, where is it? You sneaky thief. I knew it. You just want to rob us.
You took it first.
You're an animal. You don't even know what it is.
The Lord and King of all France, Charles the Great, has spent 7 long years fighting in Spain. He has conquered the highlands and the plain. Before him, not a single fort remains.
What are you rambling on about?
It's from the book.
How do you know this? You're an animal.
Can't you read?
Hey, you see that? Over there in the fog. There is something there. What is it?
A deer. It broke through the ice and died.
Children! Martha, wake up, dear.
Who's she?
We met in the forest. I'm Jack's mother. Come here, Jack.
Did you find him?
Yes, dear, we did.
The baby is safe. The monk brought it to a small cell not far from here.
But we won't go there now. Ellen offered us shelter for tonight.
I have. Follow me.
If I'd known you lived this close, my Agnes might have been saved.
Don't fool yourself. When a woman is bleeding inside, it either stops or it doesn't. All you can do is keep her warm, and you did that. I'm sorry, but the living must take care of the living. Jack, give the children some soup, will you? Will you be able to get work soon?
Hard to say. People don't usually hire a new master builder in winter. Too cold for stirring water. Sometimes you get lucky, but not this year. Some time ago I had work in Exeter. They offered me the post of builder for the Castellan, to keep the walls and defences in shape. It would have kept me busy for the rest of my life. We would have lived like bishops.
What happened?
I refused. All I cared about was working on a cathedral again. I was a fool.
You can do better than to build churches.
Well, I worked on one once. That was good work. I won't
Thank
ramble
you,
on
Jack.
now. But if you ask Martha, she'll tell you everything about it.
You know, a man like you should not beat himself so hard.
No. No, there is no excuse for leaving my baby son behind.
Women die in labour. Men abandon their children all the time. It is rare that they return.
Is that what happened to you and your son?
No, that is an altogether different story. One I haven't even told Jack yet. All I can say is, I raised him alone in this cave, outside of town law. Just us and the forest.
How do you get by?
We hunt, we gather. It works well enough for us two to survive. You can thank Jack for the meal, by the way. My little cub caught his first deer today, all by himself.
I'm impressed.
What? Have you not told me yet?
Oh, just some old tale.
Like Tristan and Isolde?
A bit, but not quite. Come on, eat up.
Eat well, children. You'll need your strength.
And so do you, Master Builder. Go on, tuck in.
I will. Thank you. Well, they're asleep now. So, what is it?
I told you that the monk had taken the baby to a small cell nearby. It's true, but I advise you to stay away from there.
What? Why?
Because you abandoned it. That counts as murder.
Then I have to steal him. I have to own up to what I've done. I have to take back my son.
Think for a moment. You have been out of work since summer. A baby needs a lot of care. More than your other children. How will you feed him?
But what am I to do then? Live like you? I don't know a thing about hunting. I'm a mason. Even in a castle I'm more at home than here.
Leave the baby with the monks. He'd be warm and fed. You wouldn't have to carry him while you look for work. And when you do find something, you can come back and fetch him.
I don't know. Since Agnes died, I don't know anything anymore.
You're a good man, Tom Builder. You're kind and gentle and strong. You will do the right thing. You also don't have to go through this alone, you know. Jack and I will have to leave this place soon. The winter is too cruel, and we might not survive if we stayed. We could all travel together.
I don't know. I have my hands full with my children already.
I can help you take care of them. If you promise to teach my son how to get along in the world of men. We may be strangers now, but we would be at each other's side, helping out however we can.
The living must take care of the living.
Yes.
That night I dreamed of a strange world. There were small castles, dead deer, and a giant called Tom. In that dream I was happy. I tightly held my mother's hand, watching the kind giant and learning his mysterious ways.
I don't know why, but in so many adventure games set in like the medieval period or something like that, there's always a character that sounds like Jason Statham, like Tom Builder, literally. I left my baby behind. I gotta take care of him. I don't know why I left the baby behind. Now he's stolen by a bunch of monks. Like, it's just such a stereotype voice, and I don't mind. His voice suits him. Don't get me wrong, but I just hear it so often in like so many games, like the same voice. Probably not the same voice actor, but so many people do that voice, right? And I don't know. I just find it. I kind of find it a stereotype.
My brother is as stubborn as you are sometimes. But I trust him. The bishop has to see this letter. My pony needs to be fed soon. Should I take some? I will take just a couple. My pony should be fed. Do I just take some hay? My pony needs to be fed. There you go. You're still hungry, aren't you? Here. But where do I tell the bishop I found it? Oh, why must I be so nervous? I trust Francis. He knows about these things.
How can I help you?
I have come to see the bishop.
Who may I tell the bishop is visiting?
I am the prior of St. John in the Forest.
And what, may I tell Bishop Walerin, is the reason for your visit? The bishop insists that I ask.
I carry a letter that proves there will be a war.
A war?
Yes, but the bishop may be able to stop it.
It is urgent, then. I will let the bishop know that you are here. Please, wait here a short while.
You know, it's honestly a shame that this game didn't do well. I mean, I'm sure it did well. The reviews have said that, you know, it did quite well, but I feel like a lot of people haven't heard of this game or haven't played it because it didn't really get that well marketing and sales. And it's made by, I believe, Daedalic Entertainment, and they they aren't really known for making like AAA games or anything like that. So.
Yes?
The bishop will see you now. The Right Reverend Bishop Wailerin, by God.
Please, sit down.
Thank you, Right Reverend.
Please, call me Wailerin. Timothy informed me you are the prior of?
St. John in the Forest, Right Reverend.
Then you must be Philip of Gwynedd.
I'm surprised you know my name.
As bishop, I am the ex officio abbot of Kingsbridge. So, I am bound to take an interest.
Well, God has blessed us in St. John.
I wish God would confer similar blessings on Kingsbridge Priory. Timothy said you were talking about a war.
Old Bartholomew of Shiring. Do you know him well?
As bishop, I am much involved in politics. Though, of course, the church can never be involved enough. Bartholomew is a stubborn man. He is opposed to any suggestions from me, and I am his bishop.
I heard the same about the Earl of Gloucester.
How do you know of this? Ah, your brother Francis is working for Earl Robert of Gloucester, is he not? Did he tell you?
Excuse me. Yes, Francis mentioned this to me. He is indeed working for the Earl of Gloucester.
You mentioned a war. Tell me, Philip, why are you here?
Was I wrong to come to you, my bishop? Maybe I should have taken the letter to the Sheriff of Shiring.
Eustace is ungodly, arrogant, grasping, and corrupt. So are all sheriffs. Philip, how did you get this letter?
I found it among Prior James's documents in Kingsbridge. I am staying there for a few days.
Prior James. May he rest in peace. Did he not order everything to be burned?
You know about this?
Sub-Prior Remigius mentioned it once.
I asked them not to burn James's books. The brothers agreed.
Well, and there you found the letter?
Yes.
Timothy, leave us. And did you find anything else?
No, just the letter. The messenger carrying it had an accident and died near Kingsbridge.
And your brother Francis told you about it?
No.
Philip, you already told me you have talked with him about this. From the letter I see the messenger was employed by your brother's master. That is why it is understandable that you would want to protect him. But there is no need to lie to me.
A war would cost so many lives.
God thunders wondrously with his voice.
He does great things that we cannot comprehend. The Book of Job. But This is not the work of God, but of Earl Bartholomew.
You are truly the man I have heard so much about. I will call on friends of mine. Pray for us that we can put an end to Bartholomew's plan before it is too late. You did a brave thing for our church, Brother Philip. A brave thing indeed. You'll go back to Kingsbridge Priory now and forget about the sheriff, won't you?
I will.
And, don't speak of this to anyone there.
I shan't. Yes, but I'm not going on foot. Time to leave, old friend.
Did you pack enough food? It will be a while before you get to eat smoked venison again.
Yeah, I took some.
Anyone seen Martha?
She said she had to piss.
All right. I'll go get her.
You're a mason too, right?
Uh-huh.
So, what have you built so far? I'm sure Jack would love to hear about your work.
Houses. I mostly carve rocks. I haven't built much yet.
They're looking for you.
I don't want to leave. It's so dangerous out there. I don't want to get robbed again.
Well, it appears Martha didn't need to go piss after all. She's just sitting here crying. I'll defend you, little girl.
I've got a slingshot.
Maybe you could teach me how to use it.
I will.
Papa usually protects me. But he can't always be around. He needs to take care of himself too.
You need to learn to defend yourself.
I want to, but I'm still so small. And I want to stay here where it's safe.
This knight is Charles the Great. He will protect you.
Oh. Am I his princess?
You are. Together, you are brave and smart, and will never give up.
All right. I have to stay steadfast. Thank you, Jack.
Martha! Where are you?
Come on. We're going on a great quest.
On our way, I told Martha the names of my trees. There was the birch, Jerusalem, and the oaks, Alexandria and Byzantium. When I pointed out Rome, she laughed and named an apple tree Southampton. The farther we walked, the merrier she became, christening all the new trees Winchester, Bath, Salisbury, while I grew quieter and quieter. Finally, we arrived at a large road. This heads towards Shiring, Tom said. The strangest name of them all.
Let's be honest, he didn't say, "This heads towards Shiring." He said, "This heads towards Shiring." 'Cause he's so full of emotion.
By noon, we had reached the edge of town. Mother gave us some dry prunes to chew while she argued with Tom whether we should head directly to town or past the palace of the so-called bishop. Tom was hopeful to find work at the palace, but Mother seemed uneasy. Mother seemed happy to head directly into town and avoid the palace. "These churchmen are all crooks," she said. But Tom answered with a worried expression on his brow. They might be the only ones willing to hire a mason around here. Shiring was full of people looking for work. Mother and Tom kept asking around while we rested our feet at the market. Alfred gave me a look as if he wanted to punch me, but I only stared at the buildings, amazed by the straightness of their walls. Finally, Mother called us over. Rumor had it that the Earl of Shiring was hiring all kinds of people. It was then that I heard a man in a robe say, "That voice, it's her. The witch. She was here 10 years ago." But apart from me, no one took notice.
You don't know me. You're misjudging whatever it is I did. I'm willing to forgive your mistake if you accept my offer now.
This is all about family honor to you, isn't it? Perhaps I should tell you about my mother. She was a happy person who loved to laugh and tell stories, but father made her miserable. Oh, he's not a bad man, but solemn and strict. She hated him so much she died from it.
Are you saying you don't like me?
You're so self-centered. You never think about anyone else's feelings. You have no refinement, and you can barely read. What were you expecting?
One day you will see that you are wrong, and then I won't be so forgiving.
All right. Let's hope it's true and the Earl needs us.
Yeah, I'm starving.
Alfred, keep an eye out. I'll be right back. And boys, try to get along.
An eye out for what?
Papa wants him to look for things that are broken.
Some people don't know they need a mason until you show them.
Papa could fix their walls or build a house. One man can build an entire house? I want to see.
Learn what you can, but don't stray too far.
Ugh. Why won't anyone just give me something to eat?
Okay, I think this is a good spot to end the stream for now. Alfred, nobody wants to give you anything to eat because you're a rotten little bastard who just growls and grunts. Why won't anybody feed me? because you're an ass. Anyway, I think this is a good spot to end the stream, like I said. I don't know how long we've been playing for, but I think it's been at least 2 hours, if not more. So yes, that was Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth, Book 1. So there's 3 books in the series, as I said. Each one is 7 chapters. So it's a very long game, needless to say. But a very, very good game. Probably one of the best adventure games I've ever played. Very, very long, but at the end it's very fulfilling. And it's not one of those games where once you finish it, you go, well, that sucks. Now I got to wait for a sequel or anything like that. It's not like that. It ends on a very high mark, and you know that there's not going to be a sequel. It's one full game. It is in chapters, kind of like a Telltale Games game, but unlike Telltale Games games, you don't pay extra for the chapters. If you buy the CD version like I did, or the Blu-ray, the disc version. If you buy the disc version like I did, all of the chapters are included in that, so you don't pay extra or anything like that. It'll automatically upload all of the chapters via the update. So when you go to install it, it'll install all the chapters. Anyway, so that's it for me. Thank you to everyone tuning in today and everyone tuning in after the fact. It is always greatly appreciated. If you like what you see here, please consider liking and subscribing for future content. I cover PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, and VR games. If any of that interests you, please consider liking and subscribing for future content. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys soon at the Gamer's Grotto. Thank you again, and have a wonderful evening. Take care.